Welcome you today at Mémorial de la Shoah. My name is Sophie Nagiscard, and I'm head of the Culture Department of the Memorial. And on behalf of our institution and our director, I'm very glad to welcome and to that the Memorial welcome these European Days of Jewish Culture. So maybe some of you already know this institution, but for those who never have been there, I'm going just to introduce this place in a few words. And because this year, 2023, we are going to, it's the 80th anniversary of the creation of the CEDJC, le Centre de Documentation Juive Contemporaine, the Contemporary Jewish Center, which is an association born during the war, 1943, founded by a group of resistant Jewish from various obedience, mainly people who were involved into either saving the Jews of France during the war or a representative of cults. And they found this association in the goal to gather documentation about what was happening to the Jews in France. Of course, in 80 years, this first association evolved a lot to become the place you're in today. But the main goal of its founders is still there. In 1953, Isaac Schneerson, who was the founder of this first association during the war, decided to build a memorial to the assassinated Jewish. And this memorial was supposed also to be a place of remembrance, but to host the documentation center. And this documentation center was made of German archive that the CDJC have taken at the liberation of France in various places, hosted, stolen, maybe we can say, for some of them. And also, made of archive, and it's still the case today, of families, of people who have been victims of the Holocaust and who want to host their archive in a place dedicated to, first, the remembrance of the genocide and the documentation of the genocide, but also a place, a Jewish place. So today, the Memorial has become the institution you see there. It's composed of this place in Paris, also another memorial in Drancy, which is facing the place of memory, La Cité de la Muette, but also three other places who joined the memorial recently. First one is a place in Orléans, which is south of Paris, which is named Le Sethill, and which have been founded by Hélène Moucharzé around the memory of the children imprisoned and assassinated after the roundup of the Veldiv in 1942. Another place is in Clermont-Ferrand, which is the Center Jules Isaac, which is hosted by an ancient synagogue. And the third place, the last place, is the place of memory at Le Chambon-sur-Lignon. And Le Chambon-sur-Lignon, maybe you know that place at one of the few villages which have been named righteous among the nation for the role they have had during the war into the saving of Jewish children and Jewish adults also. So today the memorial is still, doing what its founder, decide to do. It's first to gather documentation for any researcher to be able to to find documents for their research, either on the Holocaust or more openly, as I say, into Jewish culture. I will bring your attention to the fact that our library, library is in Paris, one of the biggest collection, I will say, about Jewish culture, and it's managed by Ariel Sion. So maybe if you're interested to go to see what she have, you will see that she have a lot of things about Jewish culture, and mainly also Jewish culture before the war, with a lot of titles in Yiddish or whatever, press, you know, in France, and very interesting for Jewish culture. And so documentation and also transmission, you know, memory, of course, but transmission. In my department, we are managing exhibition and conferences. So our exhibition, we are, for example, last year we made about 12 exhibitions, which is a lot, you know, and we are trying to tour them, you know, in France with a circulation, and so either in school, in municipality, in various places, you know, and sometimes abroad also. And of course, conferences which are devoted, of course, to the history of the Holocaust. And we are very lucky to still have a lot of actuality, either in films, essay, or history, but also fiction, you know, which are still, you know, nourishing this programmation, you know, which is really a sign that I think the Jewish culture is still very, and particularly about the Holocaust, you know, we could have think, you know, that maybe this interest into the topic, you know, will go increase down, but that is really not the fact. And it's very interesting, I think, to notice that, because it's a sign of the importance of that topic. But also, of course, we are interested in the Jewish culture, even if it's not our first goal, I confess. But, you know, we are involved into the Festival des Cultures Juives here in Paris since its beginning, you know, and so we are very happy every year to participate to the festival. And to see, you know, how, you know, even if it's begun something like 20 years ago, I remember very well, I think it's what the year we begin here in 2005, that the first edition appears here in Paris. And so now it became a very big festival, you know, and so it's very nice for me to see this development, you know, and to see the interest, you know, of people. And I think Holocaust, Shoah, is one of the aspects of the Jewish culture today, unfortunately. But it's fortunately not the only one. And so, what can I say? You will discover our institution, you know, maybe today. And wait, maybe so. And I hope, you know, you will enjoy to see what we propose. And some of our exhibitions, maybe you will, if you have time to visit them, you know. And you are, of course, welcome anytime, and more if you want to send us some question after. Have a good day.
Good morning. My name is Bruno Boyer. I'm the head of international relations at the Holocaust Memorial in Paris. Very shortly, only 1 minute, because you are the European Days of Jewish Culture network. I would like to underline the European dimension of the place where you are. Europe flows through the vein of Memorial al-Shoah, and from the beginning, from the start. If you review the fondators or the pillars of Memorial de la Shoah, since 1943, there were 3 fondators. Lucien Steinberg, he was born in Bucharest. Isaac Schneerson, he was born in Russia. He was born in Kamenets-Podolsky, Ukraine, Russia. And Leon Polyakov, who was born in Russia. And let's say, the next generation with Serge Klarsfeld, he was born in Bucharest. All these four historical figures are key, are the basis of the activities, the legacy, and the policy of Memorial de la Shoah. So from the beginning, we were not a French institution, we were a European institution. And today, through the activities, all the activities of Memorial de la Shoah have a European dimensions. We have, of course, exhibits about the Holocaust, for instance, in Thessaloniki or in different parts of Europe. When we deal with the persecution of the homosexuals, this is the first exhibit ever dedicated to this issue in Europe, not in France. So we always try to promote a European dimension. When we have, together with Sophie, 4 online events dedicated to Ukraine, we try to promote European values and to defend Ukraine and to stand together with Ukraine, because this is a part of the European legacy. What is at stake at the East is the falsification of history and falsification of the Holocaust. So it's the role of Memorial de la Shoah to stand up and to speak about these issues. And it's not only because we do pretend to be European, but we are recognized as such by the European Commission, like you, Victor and Federico, with your activities. We have the same kind of project and same kind of support coming from the Citizens' Equality Right Value programs, but we have been supported by the European Commission since 2014 through an operating grant. An operating grant means just one thing. We do support you, whatever you do, because we do believe you are a European institution, very important for the remembrance of the European history. And we have this kind of support now for more than 10 years. So we have a great partnership with the European institutions and the European Commissions with the head of about Department of Anti-Semitism, etc., etc. So I wanted just to underline the European dimension, and we have an international policy, of course. And we are European because we defend the European values. And one of the negative European values today is, of course, anti-Semitism. And the work today of Memorial de la Shoah is to fight back anti-Semitism in all its fields, education, research, but together with the young generations. So the European dimension really flows through the vein of Memorial de la Shoah, and we have so many things in common, so many things to share with your network. So for us, it's a real privilege to be in the same perspective, same approach. We are complementary to each other, really complementary. And it's a privilege, once again, to have you here today.
Well, thank you very much, both of you and Memorial de la Shoah, for having us here in your very impressive premises. Again, like I said yesterday, we are not only delighted, but we are we believe that to be here in this place that is so important in terms of history for Paris, for France, and for Europe, for the Shoah, is something very special to us. I would like to welcome you and everybody who's here in this auditorium to the opening of this 2 days conference. A very warm welcome from MahJ. It is a unique event. I will come back to that today, and the success of this gathering is a testimony that Jewish heritage and Jewish culture is now at the core of at the center of the preoccupations of civil society in Europe, and so should it be. We have a long history behind us of nearly 25 years of activities to come to this point. It is always good for those who are new here, but also for those who have cooperated and worked with us for some years to remember this start and to remember where we come from. And that such an association, such a project, such a common endeavor doesn't just, develop in 1 or 2 years, but it needs time. And where we are coming today is a very important milestone. We have started the activities in Alsace, France. When we say we, several people, including our honorary president, Claude Bloch, here, sitting here, by opening the Jewish sites to the public because they were in danger to be forgotten, to be sold, to be neglected. And very quickly it appeared that this idea of, showing to the public that there are walls that are more than only bricks, that what a synagogue means, what a Jewish cemetery means, is of an extraordinary potential to show that Jews have a long history in their city, in their village, in their region, to show that there is a common history also to all people, that you can learn from each other, not only in terms of religion, but also in terms of respecting each other, of building something together. And very quickly we set up this European Day of Jewish Culture in 17 countries in the year 2000, and it grew to sometimes more than 30, sometimes 35 countries of people wanting to participate in this European Day of Jewish Culture. It is also good to remember that since 2004 we have been recognized by the Council of Europe in Strasbourg as a cultural route, a European cultural route. We created the European route of Jewish culture, and many of you participate also in this project. But this year, as you know, is very important milestone, because just unlike you having been recognized for here at the memorial for some time now as an important player, and for all of us, because Shoah should be in the center of of the thinking process of the Europeans. We know what happened, we know what can happen. Jewish heritage has taken time to be recognized as this central value which it is. And we have started by cooperating with other partners, other routes of culture in small projects, and here we are now, having built a consortium with many organizations throughout Europe in organizing these European Days of Jewish Culture. It is a milestone because we are now cooperating, being recognized with the European Union, and it is not a question of ego, as you can imagine. It is a question that the European Union is the biggest and the most powerful of the European institutions. And as you know, Council of Europe embodies a lot of good values built after the war to have peace and cooperation. But the European Union is this big machine, political machine, where the main decisions are being taken, and where it is so important that the core values that we embody also are being taken into notice. And this is happening with this project to fight anti-Semitism. And it is important that the Commission sees that by promoting Jewish heritage and culture, you do something for the understanding of each other in society, to get to know the Jews and their history, and to promote the common values, the common understanding through this means. This meeting is really not only today's meeting, it is probably a historical gathering, and you are there, and you can tell your children and your and your family about it when you will retire. About this, it will be a milestone really in Jewish culture and heritage. Let me tell you just another few words about our PG, our association. Since the beginning, it was not our goal, to be a centralized organization where we dictate what should be done and where we control what's going on. The philosophy, and this is very important, was completely opposite. The philosophy was, we are promoting and coordinating an event. We are opening to everybody. We are welcoming to everybody and try to work with everybody who has the same goals in promoting Jewish heritage and culture. And for that, you can imagine we need strong people who are very dedicated. And this is true for benevolent people, but also for our team. So let me just present you this team. And we will ask each of you to stand up. I will start with our General Secretary, Assumpció Hosta from Catalonia, Girona, here. Then our Honorary President, Madame Claude Bloch from Strasbourg, Alsace, France. Then, as you know, in Italy, there is an incredible heritage in general. It's an open-air museum, but many people don't know that the Jewish heritage is as fabulous as the other heritage, and therefore we have two representatives from Italy, Anni Sacerdoti from Milan, and Claudia De Benedetti from Turin, and everywhere in Italy. So this is our bureau. We have also obviously a board which is larger, which is constituted of members of some of the member organizations. And I would like to greet all of you, those who come from Paris, and there are many. Merci d'être venus. Some I've known a long time ago, and some I have the pleasure of meeting today. This is true for Bnei Brit, but we have also people from far away, and especially I would like to greet the representative of Georgia, who is in the Museum of Tbilisi. Thank you very much for coming here. And also, I would like to welcome the representatives of the Kiryati Foundation from Tel Aviv, and Uri is there, and thank you for being here. So that you have really an idea of, the importance and the very variety of delegates who are here. But I also like to finish with just thanking very much not only the team in terms of benevolence in AEPJ, but also obviously those who are working for us every day. One is not here, it's Mark, who had to stay in Barcelona because that's where our office is and we need to make sure it continues. But those who are here are first our excellent director, Victor Sorenssen, who all of you know. Then I'd like to welcome a person who has been with us for several years and who has been very important in terms of communication, and who now takes a bit of another role. And please applaud Federico Sarfo. Then we have had the possibility now with this project of having a bigger team, and a person who just joined our team and who would like to greet is Judith Teboul from Paris. Bienvenue. So you see the team, which is very varied. I will close now and say, yes, I didn't say I'm François Moïse. I'm sitting in Luxembourg, where we have our headquarters. And I would like to wish you excellent debates. I would like to have this meeting to be a success. And I would like to apologize because I have to leave. I'm a bit of a busy person, and so I can only stay a very few minutes. But it was very important for all of us to come, at least part of the event. And so let the debates start. Let's have the success. And as I said, let us all together work for Jewish and culture and put it in the center of the preoccupation of European society. I would like to close by saying that the topic of this year, memory or memories, should also be at the end of the year the memories of an outstanding year of success for Jewish heritage and culture. And for those who will be able to do it, and maybe who are not obliged to be also on the ground opening some places on the 3rd of September, you are all welcome to join our central opening event, which will happen in Brussels at the main synagogue, Synagogue de la Régence, the European synagogue, where we'll have really a big event with representatives of the European institutions. So on Sunday, 3rd of September, if you can make it, again, this is an event open to all of you. And whether there or somewhere else in Europe or maybe somewhere else, I look really forward to meeting you again. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Victor Sorenssen, the director of the EDJC, and it's a great pleasure for me to start this plenary session. And I cannot start in any other way than by saying thank you. First of all, to the Memorial de la Shoah for all the work in the planning and organizing this fabulous program that we are going to have for these 2 days. Which will allow us to dive into and explore the central theme of the European Days of Jewish Culture, memory. As you can see, it's a full, intense program that seeks to combine general reflection sessions on the very concept of memory, also participatory workshops that seek to broaden the framework of work and activity of the European Days of Jewish Culture, as well as working. We are going to have a session in the UNESCO, which will provide us with tools or international frameworks and policies to support the promotion of Jewish heritage and culture. There is a lot of work behind these 2 days, and I would like to thank my colleagues in the office. First of all, the European Days of Jewish Culture project manager, Federico Sarfer, that has done a huge job to make this happen. And also Judith Tebul, our new communication officer, who has just joined the team with the aim of strengthening the promotion at all levels of this initiative. Thanks to both of you, and you will have the floor in a second. And of course, a very big thank you for all of you that you are here today. And the European Days of Jewish Culture is a reality thanks to your work year after year to make Jewish culture and heritage visible in Europe. We believe, like you, that it is possible to turn heritage and culture into a driver force for social development and cultural diplomacy. Valuing and having a deeper understanding of Jewish culture and heritage will contribute to intercultural dialogue, promote inclusiveness and social cohesion as recognized in the EU strategy for combating anti-Semitism and fostering Jewish life, and that's a great responsibility. In these complex times that we are living, this initiative becomes a challenge, but also a real opportunity. An opportunity for communities and cities to use Jewish heritage and culture to become an entry point for public understanding of the past, but also the continuities and evolution of Jewishness as still articulated in the present, empowering the Jewish community itself. And we will only achieve this if we work and cooperate together, hand in hand. And in this sense, it is wonderful and very, very touching to see in this room representatives from all over Europe, from more than 23 countries, committed to this vision. Both those who have been involved from the beginning of these initiatives and those who are joining the initiative today and in this year. Museums, public bodies, Jewish communities, cultural centers, Jewish and non-Jewish institutions. We embark on a journey together where we will inspire, learn, and shape an initiative with the help of all the talent that is sitting in this room today. This is a great start, so once again, thank you so much for all your effort and dedication and commitment with this project. I would like also to thank the APJ and its board for believing in this program, which today takes a historical leap forward. And thanks again to my team. We are at your disposal all the time, and we wish you a very inspiring conference for this today. So thank you very much. I'm going to, yes, Fede, the floor is yours. We are going to get started with the program.
Thank you very much, Victor, and thank all of you for being here. Thanks to the APJ board, thanks to the Memorial of the Shoah for hosting us and all the help with the logistics, and thank you to my colleagues for all your work. But especially thank you to all of the organizers and coordinators of the European Days, because it is you who make the festival, and we are here to help you. We want to be always available for you to help you with anything that you need. So please count on us. Before starting, just a quick notice. There's other conferences happening in the building, and we will be changing rooms and so on. So just please be aware of the program, where are our rooms, because you don't want to end up in somebody else's presentation. No? Just that. Okay, I will start with a little bit of presenting you a tool. So, most of you have already started using it. This is our new workspace, our online community. We are testing, let's say, this system during this conference. The idea is that this can be a channel for bi-directional communication between the APJ, the partners of the project, between organizers and coordinators, and between all of us to build a stimulating conversation. So I really invite you to join the channel. If you have any kind of problem, technical problem, you can ask Judith or me, and we will be happy to help you. Help us to keep the conversation proactive. Thank you for that. I would like to start this presentation with sharing with you some inspiring images that I think that can illustrate what we want to achieve in this edition, but what we have already demonstrated that we are capable of achieving. We want a new European Days of Jewish Culture that is with better quality, with better activities, with better coordination, with better reporting. We want a festival with activities where values-based education and first-person experiences are the key for creating a profound impact. We are looking for activities in which the most genuine artistic expressions, whether traditional or contemporary, are made accessible to all. We are looking for activities in which fiction and reality go together hand in hand to offer an immersive experience. Activities maybe in which tradition and innovation can come together so that Jewish culture continues to evolve and renew itself, but that never forgets its ancient roots. And finally, activities aimed at all of the society, activities that go out into the streets and allow any citizen to understand Jewish culture as part of European culture. Also, this year, with the opportunity of being under the umbrella of the SERF program of the European Commission, we have a good chance to empower national coordinators and national points of contact to be sure that all the coordination is made in a proper way. We invite you to work with us through your national coordinators or your national points of contact. If you don't know who they are, please contact us because we will be very happy to introduce you to them. I will present now the next steps for the European Days, a kind of a timeline of what is going to happen this year. After finalizing this conference, these 2 days here in Paris, we are going to provide you with what we call the practical information kit. This is a dossier that we will be sending at the end of March. That will include materials, reflections, and training on the theme of memory, great ideas for activities, and probably some guidelines on communication, guidelines on coordination. So everything that will be talked in these 2 days will be somehow reflected in this document. So please be very aware of it when you receive it, and help us also to spread it through your networks, to the local organizers, to everyone who's organizing an activity, because it is a good manual, I think. After this March first document, we will be trying to keep the momentum by organizing the Inspiring Memory Sessions. Those will be online sessions where experts in the field of memory and Jewish culture will present their work, will present their ideas to inspire us, so we are able to get ideas on what kind of activities we can do. We will be helped to get innovative. So I also invite you to invite your networks, to invite your local organizers, so that everyone can get a taste of this new approach to memory. From June to September, we will have our slot to upload the activities to the European Days of Jewish Culture website. This year, after hearing some of your ideas on the past two years, we are starting with a new improved system on the website that will provide 3 ways of uploading the activities. For the people that are organizing up to 10 activities, we recommend that the best way to upload them is through the single activity form. This is a form that will be a little bit different from the one that you already know, but the same information will be asked: a title, the date, the place where it will happen, a picture, and a description of the activity. This will be available at the European Days of Jewish Culture website, and it's easy to use. For coordinators maybe that are coordinating more than 10 activities, there will be the option to upload a bulk of activities altogether through a Excel file, through a CSV document. If you want, if that's your case and you want to upload activities through this channel, please contact us and we will teach you how to do it, because it has some kind of technical thing that needs to be learned. And finally, we are also incorporating a new way of uploading the activities through a PDF program. If it is your case that you produce a PDF with all the activities in your region or in your country, there will be a system to upload them and to make them count as the number of activities they represent. So this is a system is under development, and we will show you how it works when it's ready. As François Moïse already mentioned, on the 3rd of September in Brussels, we are having our official kickoff of the festival, and you will be very invited to join us. But we also invite you to plan your national kickoffs events. Please do so, and inform us also about when it's happening. As the last years, the activities will be able to happen in a flexible way since the 3rd of September to the end of November. We want you to have room to work with your activities the way that it's more comfortable for your schedule, for the national schedule, and that is comfortable for you. And finally, this year we'll be also doing reporting as usual, but I have to say that this year we will be a little bit more strict with the deadlines, since we have to report all this also to the European Commission for happening this under the umbrella of the SERF program. We are looking for a report that is quantitative but also qualitative. We want to receive high-quality images that can help us communicate your events, that can help us give all the visibility that your events deserve. Also, if you have any ideas to improve the reporting, to improve the system that we are using nowadays to ask you for the report, please come to us and suggest your ideas, because they will be very valued. And finally, I want to present you also the EU survey tool. This is a tool, a platform provided by the European Union that will help us to measure the impact of our activities, and also the European Union will be able to see that this is a festival that does a profound impact. We will be sending you, for example, at the end of this conference, you will receive a link to answer this EU survey, but you will also be able to send this survey to your participants. Finally, just a quick recap of the timeline of the European Days of Jewish Culture of this year. We are in February right now, attending the Organizers Coordinators Meeting. At the end of March, you will receive the practical information kit. From March to July, we will have the inspiring memory sessions, the online sessions with experts in memory and culture. From June to September, uploading the activities through the 3 systems I mentioned. On the 3rd of September, we will have our official kickoff in Brussels. From September to the end of November is where all the activities can happen, and from November to the end of the year, we will be doing the reporting. All these presentations will also be available for you, so don't worry about taking the pictures and so on. Maybe now it's a good time if any of you have any questions regarding, let's say, these or more procedimental things. Now it's a good time. Hello, Anke. Nice to see you. Maybe we have some microphones. Okay. Yes. The PowerPoints, all the presentations, all the materials of these days will be sent to you, or it will be included in the practical information kit. Bonjour. Okay. Oh, thank you very much for that, Assumpción. I invite you, to contact us later, and we will explain who's your national point of contact. Thank you. Sorry? All of the national contacts. That list is not ready at the moment, but we will be happy to contact you with the relevant people, definitely. Thank you.
Artur.
Yeah, thank you for that, Assumption.
Artur has a great voice, Asunción, don't worry.
Yeah, but it's being recorded.
It's been recorded, okay.
Hello, hi again.
I'm
just looking at the timeline, and the kickoff is the 3rd of September. If the events happen earlier, so for example, what I'm saying is that the kids, I'm talking about Belarus now, the kids go back to school in September, and it's more difficult if we involve children in the events, it's harder to get their attention. So if the events happen, say in August or July, is there flexibility or the data are set strictly from the 3rd of September? Thank you.
Thank you, Artur, for the question. Definitely, there is flexibility for that. We recommend that activities don't happen before August. So that will be ideal that happen starting on September, but obviously all the flexibility for the details of each and the needs of each country. Thank you. Yes.
Alfred, maybe if you ask a question, maybe you can introduce yourself so we can slowly know who is who in the room. So, okay. Alfred?
My name is Alfred Lang. I'm coming from Austria, Research Society Burgenland. My question is related to the kickoff meeting. Short question. Do you know when you will have the program ready for the kickoff?
Sorry,
When will you have the program ready for the kickoff meeting in
the
Brussels?
program for
Yeah,
Brussels.
For Brussels,
for
yes.
the European kickoff. We're still working on it. I think that in the next weeks or probably next month, we will have a very clear idea of the program that obviously we will share it with all of you. Thank you, Alfred.
So at any point, as you know, you can contact us, and any question that you have, we will be very happy to help you with. I would like now to introduce you to our new communications officer, Judith Tebul. She has joined us just 2 weeks ago and have been working very hard to arrive for today. So thank you very much for that, Judith, and please, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Federico, for the wonderful presentation. So I will briefly go over some of the communication guidelines, starting from how you can help us today in terms of communications up until the kickoff and post-communications after the European Days Festival. So we want to reiterate that the AEPJ is especially responsible for communications at the European level, and so you can help us with communications at your local, citywide, national levels. So we've already published 5 news items on the AEPJ website, and you can go ahead and already redistribute these news items via your national communications channels. And later on, around March up until July, the communications will be focused on the inspiring memory sessions that Federico just mentioned. And then between July and September, the communications content will be mostly related to your local national activities. And you will be responsible as well, note, for communications during and after the events. We've come up with an official hashtag for the EDJC 2023 events, so please note the hashtag. You can take pictures. And we'd like to stress the importance of professionalism in photography. And if you cannot have professional photographers, to at least dedicate a person or a point of contact for your photography. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judith. At this point, this is a key point of the meeting today, where we are announcing the official poster for this year. By initiative of the board, and here I would like to thank to Claude Bloch for the idea of organizing a contest, an open contest for all organizers and coordinators to propose ideas of design for the official poster. This is the poster that we encourage you to use, to adapt, to translate to your local languages, and to altogether help to build a more coherent, a more homogeneous image of the festival. So without any further ado, I will present you the poster that has been voted by the board of the APJ as the official poster of the European Days of Jewish Culture 2023. Okay, nice reaction. Okay, this is a poster designed by Nikola Radic Luzzati, founder of the Center for Holocaust Research and Education in Belgrade, in Serbia. As you see, it's a very interesting poster with a huge presence of typography. He has provided us with different examples of use. And he's an amazing designer, and he already conveyed to us his willingness to help us adapt this design to any kind of use. Probably we will be producing some kind of labels, some kind of frames that you can use in your pictures, in your posters, in all of your materials. I have asked Nicola to send us a small video in which he presents the design, and I will play it right now.
Hello, this is Nikola Radic Luzzati, the designer whose work you have chosen as a winning entry for your poster competition this year. I wish to thank you, the APJ, and their partners, the European Union and the National Library of Israel, for seeing the beauty and the value in that solution. Federico asked me to explain you a little bit about the design, so my intention was to try and showcase our culture and the memory as a subject in a solution without the usual symbols. So no Stars of David, no menorahs, no identifiers. For me, the primary identifier for culture is its own language, is the beauty of its script, and that this is the carrier of the memory. The color palette is here also to showcase also a little bit of stereotypes, but also the more in-depth features of a culture, the blue and the rust as a sort of deeper or contrasting parts of which can also carry the more difficult memories and memorial projects with them, and also the cultural memories and the brighter things that will come in the production of the events. So as this basic setup, I would strongly advise you whenever possible to use the Hebrew year, the 5783 number, in conjunction with the memory, and I will of course help you with additional solutions to it. So see you soon in Brussels. Have a nice time.
Thank you, Nicola, for that. So as you can expect, you will be receiving all the editable files for this poster. We recommend you to use to add your logos, all the necessary information for your events, and we ask you to please also use the logo of the National Library of Israel, the co-founded by the European Union label, and the APJ logo attached to the the Council of Europe label as well. So here's where my presentation ends for the moment. I thank you all for your attention, And I just remind you of engaging with all the coordinators and organizers through the Slack, and to use the hashtag EDJC 2023 as Judith has presented, and tag us in Instagram when you post your pictures. Thank you very much. And back with Victor, this is yours.
Thank you very much, Fede and Judith, for your presentations and for sharing all this information together. We are still on time on the program. That's good news. We are going to follow with a project partners presentation. So I'm going to ask Ruth, Caron, Olga, which one of you? Caron, Ruth, Paul, and Remy or Joanna, yes, to come with us to the table. Okay, so we are going to continue with the presentation of institutions that are associated with the European Days of Jewish Culture, which reinforce and give a unique added value to these initiatives. On the one hand, we have institutions which have been working and collaborating for a long time with us, that they are part of this family for so long, and others that will start this year. And we are going to offer them this space so they can present themselves, present the work that they are doing. First of all, in the framework of the European project of the CERF, as Federico was mentioning, we have had the opportunity to strengthen not only the national coordination work, but also to add new institutions and the framework of activity of the European Days of Jewish Culture. So that is to say that we are going to have very special activities complementary to the usual ones that are happening in the different countries. And among them, we have this year the MahJ, with its director, Paul Salmona, that although they already participated in the European Days of Jewish Culture annually, and we thank you very much for that, for this edition they will carry out a new initiative. So we are very happy to have you on board, Paul, and so if you are so kind, the floor is yours.
Yes, better. Hello, everybody. Thank you for your invitation. I will try to follow the suggestion of Judith and show some postcards from the museum as a business card, if I could say, very quickly, in 10 minutes. You know, usually I take 3 hours with my students, but I try to be brief. The Musée d'Art et d'Histoire du Judaïsme is a public museum in Paris, supported by the Ministry of Culture and the City Hall. It's hosted in a 17th century beautiful building, and in a certain way it's a 21st century museum because it has an auditorium, a library, a bookshop, 3 exhibition spaces, spaces for mediation work, etc. Well, some views of the street. It's quite close to the Shoah Memorial in the MahJ neighborhood, Rue du Temple. So, as I mentioned, it's a very beautiful historical mansion, aristocratical palace, if I could say. Here with the sun, and here yesterday evening is a little more gray, if I could say, but many Spanish students, very exciting audience. The palace itself has been used during the 19th and the beginning of the 20th century as a place of life and work for many Jews from Eastern France and then Eastern Europe in many jobs like cap makers, hat makers, tailors, furs, etc. It's the reason the City Hall and Ministry of Culture chose in 1998 to create their Jewish museum, and the museum has been created by Laurence Sigal. She will talk tomorrow morning. Well, some views of the museum. It's maybe one of the most beautiful collections about Judaism in the world after the Israel Museum and the Jewish Museum in New York. I don't have time to explain the reason of this gathering of a collection, but it's a very international collection instead of the other Jewish museum in Europe, which are more local, more national, as you know. Middle Ages, Ashkenazi world with these models of synagogues, the huge painting by Samuel Hirschenberg of a Jewish cemetery in Poland, rooms about the Northern Africa and the Northern African Jewries, which are very important in France, as you know, especially since the independence in 1962 of Algeria. So many documents, paintings, jewels, etc. And also a very important section about the emancipation. As you may know, France had a pioneer role in the emancipation in 1791. Sometimes 1 century before other European countries. It's a very important history. And it make possible for Jews in France to occupy every kind of social, administrative, scholars, including the army, etc. The only sector who escaped to Jews was, of course, the church. But, you know, Cardinal Lustiger has done the job during the 20th century. A very important section about the integration of Jews in the French society during the 19th century. Here with this portrait of Rachel Félix, a very famous actress of the Comédie Française, the National Theatre, at the very beginning of the 19th century. I run, I'm sorry. Just like in the Shoah Memorial, like here, the exhibition policy, it's extremely important. And we have three, as I mentioned, three exhibition spaces where, in addition to the permanent collection, we try to give many examples of the diversity and the richness of cultures of Jewish societies in Europe and around the Mediterranean. As you may know, French Judaism is a mosaic of Jews from everywhere around the Mediterranean and from Europe. You know, France is the end of the continent, so many migrations arrived and stopped in our country, fortunately. So currently we have a very beautiful exhibition of the German photographer Erwin Blumenfeld. Just some views of the exhibition, a very interesting life through Germany, Holland, France, and then United States. Fortunately, United States since 1941. But he spent 3 years in France during the premises of the war and then during the Nazi occupation, and he escaped. So it's a very interesting story. Yes. Another space, the foyer along the auditorium, concerning an exhibition about not Le Chambon-sur-Lignon, but Isieux, la Maison d'Isieux, a place of rescue of Jews during the war, where unfortunately the last series of children were rounded up in April 1944 by Klaus Barbie. But we don't especially stress on the point of their roundup, but on their work and the very original pedagogical innovations of this place, La Maison des Yeux, very interesting place. It's like a cellar, this space, very convenient for graphic works, of course. It's a huge collection which is now in the National Library. Another space, very important too, for contemporary art, the Contemporary Gallery in the former stables of the palace of the Hôtel Particulier. And currently we have an immersive installation by a French-Israeli artist, Milly Pecherer, about the topic of the Noé Arch. Something very, very interesting, done with the tools of the video games. But I have not time to develop. But you have an idea here. We have also a research library with around 30,000 books and documents and videos about art, specialized in art and archaeology of Judaism and about history of Jews of France. A very complementary library with the library of the Alliance Israélite Universelle, more specialized in literature. Well, two views of the library. A huge auditorium, a very important one. Yeah, the programming policy of the auditorium is, I would say, 10% of the activity of the museum. We have around 100 screenings, lectures, conferences, colloquiums, concerts a year. I give some examples. Here, this image is it's a silent film in concert, in live concert. It's the Golem. Well, you can easily recognize the image, I guess, but you know, it's in a dark room, so the image is not very convenient to understand. Of course, there is a very important mediation activity for children, for adults, for every kind of audience, in the rooms and also in workshops. And here in front of the Dreyfus sculpture, which is usually, as you have seen at the very beginning on the pictures of the courtyard, which is usually in the middle of the courtyard. If you come today or tomorrow or the day after, I have some passes for you, and you will see the sculpture just in the middle of the courtyard. It's a very powerful symbol, of course. Another mediation initiative. Well, and the Purim Ball, since 5 years, it's a very funny, very pleasant moment, you know. And, you know, we want to stress on the point that the Jewish culture, yes, with the plural, I would say, Jewish cultures and Jewish life, it's not only tears. This is a very important point. And the Purim Ball, it's a moment with many families, many children, a moment of gathering. Special events in the courtyard, for instance, the installation of this Sigalit Landau, the very important Israeli artist, sculpture, Miklat. Here you can see the sculpture. It's a bronze cast of a shelter, a bomb shelter in Tel Aviv, but in bronze. But also concerts for the music festival or for different occasions. And a bookshop, a real bookshop, and maybe the biggest bookshop for a museum of our size, I would say, because we have 6,000 different titles specialized in history of Judaism, of course, every area, every region, humanities, comics, kitchen, reviews, scientific reviews. I conclude. And a huge literature section, which is a very interesting one because, well, obviously it's in French because many of our clients are French, but it's with no distinction of origin, you know, so it's from Appelfeld to Zangwill, And in the middle, you have Modiano or Gary, Romain Gary, or the three Roth. You know, Philip Roth, Joseph Roth, and Henry Roth in the same place. Usually, you find it in American literature or in German or literature, etc. Well, I don't develop, but you have an idea. It's a nice place. You can stay. You can have a coffee. There is no cafeteria, unfortunately, because it's very difficult to have a cafeteria. Well, I don't develop. And of course, the editions of the museum, we publish a catalog for every big exhibition, so twice a year, and sometimes other books, as you can see. Just a word about our EDJC project, which is a completely new exhibition of where are the pictures? Yes, here. Just the figures of 2019, 11 exhibition, beginning or ending, of course. Well, you have the figures. I don't stay on the figures. Yes, I wanted to just mention the project we have for the fall for your project, which is the presentation of an amazing donation we are going to receive. It's maybe the most beautiful collection about Salonika, the Balkan Jerusalem, or the Jerusalem of the Balkans. I don't know, well, which is the good term in English. Thessaloniki in Greek, but I prefer to say Salonique in French. Gathered by Pierre de Gigord, a wonderful photography collector, which is giving us 200 pictures from 1870 till 1920, which is a view, a testimony of this Jewish town at the end of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century. Well, just some images. Of course, these are old images, old vintages. It's an incredible donation for the museum. Here, I finish here with the Jewish cemetery, which has disappeared, as you probably know. This exhibition will be able to itinerate, so if you're interested, we can discuss with you. It's not easy because these are original vintages, very precious, but if you have a facility report which makes it possible, we will be very open. It's our, goal, yes. And if you want to come to the museum, you will find the program just at the entrance, and I have some passes, so you will be, I will be very happy to welcome you. Thank you very much.
Fantastico, Paul. Fantastico. A little quick, but no, Paul. Thank you very much for this overview of the MahJ and also for sharing with us the proposal for the European Days of Jewish Culture. Thanks again, Paul. We are going to continue with another institution that we are just starting to collaborate with. As François Moïse mentioned this morning, and with our second flagship project, it's called the European Roots of Jewish Heritage. That it's a project that operates under the umbrella of the Council of Europe and its program of the Cultural Roots. So in that framework, where we are participating with more than other 40 cultural roots, obviously we are the network carrier of the European Root of Jewish Heritage, we find the Liberation Route. And we have here today Remy Prot, its director, and also Joanna Roman, the project manager, who is going to introduce us to all of us the Liberation Route. So, Joanna, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Victor. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to be here today and speak to you. I'm Joanna Roman. I work as a project manager for the Liberation Route Europe Foundation, and I'm honored to introduce you briefly to LRE Foundation and our main activities as a project partner of the European Days of Jewish Culture project. Firstly, I would like to explain you the foundation's DNA, so like the core values that we try to implement on every occasion while taking part in projects and other activities. And furthermore, I will discuss the most important projects that we coordinate, and finally I will explain our planned input to this edition of EDJC project. LRE Foundation is a member-based international network focused on preserving and disseminating cultural heritage related to World War II. The foundation is headquartered in Belgium and in the Netherlands, with national branches in Germany, in France, in Italy and UK, and hopefully we will be able to establish another branch soon in Poland, and that is actually my job to do. Yes, so our main objective is to make the history relevant and accessible, especially when it comes to young people, and that is one of the reasons why we apply the multi-perspective approach, showing like a different wartime perspectives, and that allow us to understand the complexity of this difficult period of history. And by this, we also try to showcase some individual stories with different experiences, and that presenting the complexity of war and the lessons that we can draw from them nowadays. So we have three main areas for the implementation of our activities. That is the first one, the Liberation Route project that focuses on the latter years of the war. So between July 1943 until May 1945. And this is a certified cultural route of the Council of Europe that connects people, events, and places to emphasize the liberation of Europe with hundreds of sites and stories. The Europe Remembers is a tourism destination brand that brings together commemorative sites and stories in one travel portal to promote the reflection about the complexity of heritage related to World War II from multiple historical perspectives. And finally, youth program that includes the EU-funded series Through Their Eyes, showing different individual stories according to the leading theme, and resulting in production and creation of traveling exhibitions and thematic historical workshops for young people. And our ongoing projects are Persecution Through Their Eyes and Resistance Through Their Eyes. And to visualize what I'm talking about, on this slide you can see one type of trail marker called vector of memory that marks out the remembrance sites linked by the liberation route. The group photo shows the result of our project History Through Their Eyes, and with the printed exhibition and the group of young people that took part in our historical workshop. And the logo at the bottom points out that since 2019, Liberation Route has been titled Cultural Route of the Council of Europe. And moving on to the implementation of EDJC project in collaboration with AEPJ partners and many other wonderful partners as well, we would like to contribute as an organization that deals with preservation of memory and cultural heritage related to World War II on a regular basis. And we would like to, we're actually honored to implement 2 work packages that assume an international workshop related to World War II events and the Holocaust, and an expert discussion related to those topics that will enable to compare some different perspectives. And this conference will so maybe the next slide. So this conference will most probably take place in Italy with collaboration of the Shoah Foundation in Rome this year during the autumn. And our second assignment concerns in creating an online exhibition that will be presented on the occasion of the Holocaust Remembrance Day on 27th of January next year. And our proposal is to commemorate the liberation of the concentration and extermination camps at the end of World War II, including many perspectives of prisoners, guards, soldiers liberating camps, and local inhabitants, and also public opinion in Allied countries. And so we would like to explore the past events, to show the perspectives and also testimonials of survivors, and to explore the consequences of the war. Yeah, so we believe that our experience and our willingness to promote, to rediscover many forgotten stories, to to show different perspective and also to increase the knowledge of World War II will contribute to success and general value of this joint project. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joanna. It's a great pleasure to have you on board for this edition of the European Days of Jewish Culture. We're going to continue the presentations with, I will call them friends now. We've been working together with them for years. First, I would like to introduce you to Ruth Ellen Gruber, Director of Jewish Heritage Europe. Who I can say has witnessed the very beginning of the program of the European Days of Jewish Culture. She's a key player in the field of European Jewish heritage. Through her portal, she sheds light on Jewish heritage issues and aims to stimulate discussion and exchanges among professionals. And I would say that the conference organized by Jewish Heritage Europe are I will say, a very important and privileged meeting point for all of us working in the field. So, Ruth, it's a pleasure to have you here. The floor is yours. Trust us, Ruth.
You know I trust you with my life. I'm very happy to be here. It's very exciting. Because as Victor just said, I've sort of been in touch with this or involved since the beginning. Myself and Annie, Claude, Assumpcia, we were at the first meeting that established the European Days of Jewish Culture. At that point, it was European Day of Jewish Culture, and that was at a meeting in Paris in 1999. After a huge meeting about the future of Jewish monuments in Europe, Jewish heritage, Jewish built heritage was basically not discussed after the war until 1990. I mean, very, very little was even considered that there was a future for these places. It was all but forgotten. Annie wrote her great Jewish Heritage Guide to Europe, published in 1986, and she admitted that even in Italy, her Jewish Heritage Guide to Italy in 1986, and she admitted in this book that even she, who grew up and all of the, knew nothing about many of the places that she was discovering in 1986. And then when I did my Jewish Heritage Travel Guide to Eastern and Central Europe in 1992, was like exploring places that nobody knew existed anymore. You felt like an archaeologist going into these places. And out of this meeting in 1999 that established the European Days of Jewish Culture, there was also discussion about how to be in touch, how to go forward, what the goals were, what the short-term, medium-term, long-term goals were in dealing with Jewish heritage, Jewish built heritage in particular. And one of them was to network, to get in touch, to keep people in touch, to show people what's going on, because already by 1999, there had been a lot of work in restoring and heritage roots and all of this. And that's where Jewish Heritage Europe comes in, because there was an early version set up in 2004, which attempted to do that. And that sort of it sort of stalled, more than sort of stalled, it really stalled. And then after another of these conferences in 2009, we had another attempt to bring Jewish heritage back online and back on an online portal. And we went online with Jewish Heritage Europe, this version, in 2012, just over a decade ago. And by now it's become what I think is the most comprehensive web portal to Jewish built heritage in particular. It illustrates that Jews did not sit around in Europe for 1,000 years waiting for the Holocaust. Jews lived, Jews died, Jews loved, Jews did everything. And the evidence is there, the physical evidence is there. We don't concentrate on Jewish Heritage Europe on the Shoah. There are many other places, institutions, memorials that do that. We look at the physical evidence of Jewish life, which is still there and are still being discovered. And we have many, many aspects on this website. It's a huge website. And I hope you could even, if you're online, you could even follow along with what I'm doing. We have a static section, which is like library. We have individual sections for 48 countries. Let's just go, Czech Republic, if it opens. Why isn't it opening? Don't I just hit? Oh, open. No, anyway, you can. It opened? I have to, yeah, okay. It's different from a Mac, so it's like, so every country, so where's the, there it is, okay. Every country, there's a little map, there's a little introduction, and then almost every country has these sections in it. So there's news. You can access the news we have. Communal contacts for the Jewish community organizations. Heritage and heritage sites. We don't list everything because we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We don't want to take over other people's work. So we list some individual sites. We have links to sites that are already existing, which have, these sites. But we also try to make sure they're accurate sites. We want to make everything as accurate as possible because there's an awful lot of disinformation and sentimentality that goes on looking on the internet for Jewish heritage. We have a page for, wait a minute. Oh, I guess this is the page for Jewish heritage sites in Czech Republic. So that, it's an enormous list like that. Goes on and on and on because there's a lot. And then we have for memorials and cultural institutions, publications, and we also have a section on tourism and genealogy. But we also have many other static resources, which you can find here. We have something that's called the Bratislava Statement, which was sort of agreed on at a meeting in 2009 about what the appropriate way is to deal with Jewish heritage sites, what to restore a synagogue. It gives some guidelines about dealing with Jewish heritage sites. We have the Council of Europe Jewish Heritage Report. We have all sorts of information like these conferences that we organized, and you can find videos of some of them. Anyway, it's a lot to explore. I'm not going to go through everything. But we also have, which may be of interest to some people here, we have a section in Italian because we have a young Italian guy working with us. So every week, the news summary is published in Italian, and we have a number of major articles that have been translated into Italian and can be accessed on this. But I would say our flagship section, our really main section, which sets us apart from any other website, is the news feed. Here are the first 4. These are the latest news. And we post articles, we post information about what's going on today about Jewish heritage work. These last 4 that we posted, a mikvah, a wooden mikvah, maybe 400 years old, that was just discovered in Oświęcim, Poland, a town outside of which the Nazis built Auschwitz. It was discovered when they were doing construction to build a parking lot, and it's only a month after they discovered a brick mikvah in the same place. So we post an article about that. And this is what that article looks like. It has the pictures of the mikvah, and you can see, this is the only website that does have this contemporary news. There's an archive. We have more than, I think, 2,500 articles that you can access on the archive by year. You can look at them through topic. It's all organized by topic. You can click on that and search. And there's a search pane that you can search by keyword or whatever. But if you look at the newsfeed as a whole, this is like just the last ones. Poland, Hungary. In Hungary, this was a fantastic story that this monument for a mass grave from an old Jewish cemetery where bodies were transferred over 100 years ago into the Kozma Utsa Jewish cemetery. There was a monument built by a famous architect of the time that was totally forgotten, but now it's been rediscovered by an art historian who sort of hiked for miles in the cemetery to find it. So we wrote about that. And we have every year we run about 4 or 5 roundups of initiatives, of volunteer initiatives to clean up Jewish cemeteries. This is something that could also be an event on European Days of Jewish Culture, of volunteers to go and work in a Jewish cemetery to clean it up. Because if you read the newspapers, all you think is that Jewish cemeteries are desecrated. You know, if some drunken teenagers knock over a stone, that gets headlines, but all of these hundreds of initiatives to clean up Jewish cemeteries are often never mentioned. So we try to keep these roundups going, and we really publish about hundreds of them each year. And so here's the Italian summary for those who wanted to know it. Anyway, we have many, many articles. And the other thing that I just want to, we have a brochure from our 20 years, which is on here. I can provide the link to people because we don't have any more printed copies, but it can show you what's there and you'll be able to see it. And one other thing that I'll just end with, we have space to publish articles that you write. We have a guest article section called Have Your Say, where there's space for people to write about what they are doing from a first-person angle. And the other thing is that this news feed can be easily embedded into your own website, so that if you have a website of your own projects, like the APJ has embedded the Jewish Heritage Europe newsfeed, it keeps your website up to date about what's happening in Jewish heritage news. And so I'll finish there, and I invite you to explore Jewish Heritage Europe, and I can provide links and anything like that to specific sites, specific places, the brochure or whatever, because this is on the website that can be downloaded. That's it.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And finally, I would like to introduce you to Caron Sethill, Director of the Program of Gesher L'Europa of the National Library of Israel. We have been working together with the National Library of Israel in the frame of the European Days of Jewish Culture for years now, and this is a partnership that we value highly. And we believe that this project has been reinforced extensively thanks to the work of the National Library of Israel that has acted as a means to develop all kinds of material resources for the coordinators and organizers of activities, giving a very important value in the quality of the content throughout the continent. So we have also Olga Lemper, that I would like to say hello and welcome. So we can say that this partnership nowadays, we understand it as essential part of the program. So Caron, once again, thank you. Thank you for being here with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Victor. This is the button. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Right. I know that I'm the only thing standing between you and your coffee, so I'm going to try and stick to the time. Moving from the tangible heritage that you've heard so interestingly from Ruth to intangible heritage. Olga and I were delighted to be back, finally meeting face to face. We'd like to thank the host, the Memorial de la Shoah. This year is actually a very significant milestone, Shoah milestone for libraries. We'll be commemorating in May 90 years since the book burning, the Nazi book burning in Babelplatz in 1933. We very much value our partnership with the EDJC, with the AEPJ, and working with a wonderful team, the leadership, Françoise and Assumpcio and Victor and Fedi and all the team. And the good news is that we are, as content providers, last year we did not provide an exhibit. This year we are planning to provide you with materials from the National Library. Now, some of you are familiar. I can see there are many new faces here, but we have been presenting mostly online in these last 2 years, our collections, and in the time that I have, I'm not going to do a synopsis of the library's collections. What we want to do is to focus on the theme this year of memory, which is such a fitting theme for the library and our role as the repository of the national memory of the Jewish people and the State of Israel. I even said to Victor that I think this theme is maybe almost too close to our mission, because we will need to do a lot of work to distill our collections with millions of items down into their essence for this edition of the European Day. So here is where we started, the Abarbanel Reading Room in Jerusalem 130 years ago. And this is where, sorry, I thought that there was beg your pardon. There is supposed to be a slide of our reading room here. Beg your pardon. Nope. Okay, sorry. I had a plan to put here, apologies. We'll have to rectify that. A picture of our current reading room that must have got dropped off. But what I want to say is that whilst we are moving to our new building, which you can see in the first slide here, this is our beautiful new building in Jerusalem. Many of you have been asking when we're going to be moving. We already have moved all of our books and all of our archives there. We will be moving there in person over the summer and will be open for business in the last quarter of this year. We've got some bookmarks commemorating or marking this special event that we'll be giving out to you. And they say on them next year in Jerusalem. We hope that will be the case for all of you. You'll be very welcome to visit us there. So going back to our history and our mission, the NLI holds the collective memory of Israelis of all backgrounds and faiths and the Jewish people across the road. And across the world, Through our ambitious journey of renewal in recent years, we continue to collect and document Jewish learning and life today and preserving them as memories for the future. At the same time, through this transformative renewal with a range of initiatives in education, culture, and creating new digital platforms, we're helping people everywhere engage with our treasures and to add their memories to our collections in new and meaningful ways. And this is really what our partnership with the European Day of Jewish Culture is all about how we recurate and repackage our materials and add your new materials to create a new sense of understanding of whatever theme and whatever the context is for you working in your countries. I was going to introduce Olga at this point, but you've already done that. Olga has worked for many years on the exhibitions and is the project manager for the European Day of Jewish Culture at the National Library of Israel. And she and I have been discussing how we relate to this theme. And here you can see some of the exhibitions that she and others have worked on to really create the tangible contribution of the National Library sitting in Jerusalem in Israel, which have been displayed all across Europe. And we're always thrilled, and we were talking earlier about photographs, always thrilled to receive evidence of how widely spread our items are. So we've been looking at aspects of memory. There's both commemoration. Commemoration is external, representing people, things, and events which no longer exist. Here you've got the Drancy Memorial here in Paris. And then we have remembering. Remembering is internal. It is our own personal recollections of people, things, and events that we have been a part of. Here is a very good friend of mine, Manfred Goldberg, who's been a leading figure in Holocaust education in the UK, and this is his memories of his family. We're looking forward to exploring this more in our workshop later today, but I want to share with you two items from our collections which help make this distinction and which also relate to where we are today at the Mémorial de la Shoah. Even though our focus is not the Shoah at the National Library, I just chose these specific items. This is the lending library, from the lending library of the ghetto, the Vilna ghetto, 1941 to 1943. A library in the ghetto where one is deprived of most elementary living conditions and where we're suspended between life and death every minute of our existence. Who will come to read books here? This pessimistic prediction made by the head of the library, Dina Abramovitz, before the library opened in September 41 was actually proved wrong. The fact is that even after the ghetto was established, the community maintained a rich cultural and spiritual life with the Ghetto Library as its most important cultural institution. Here you can also see a poster for a lecture series on personal hygiene and health, which must have been so critical. So just going back to the library, the Mafitsa Haskala Library was founded in 1910 and became the official library of the ghetto with almost 45,000 volumes. They say that society ladies came in the morning to read Russian novels as an escape from their frightening reality. Then in the afternoon, children would pour in after school and read Tom Sawyer, Around the World in 80 Days. And then after those had finished working outside the ghetto and the forced labor, the young idealists would come in and they would read Polish literature and non-fiction. But books were seen as a way of reaching out to the world from which the Jewish population of Vilna was now cut off. And the staff prepared these very detailed reports. This is just one image of them, including full statistics of their activities in various languages and the readers. They wrote, "A book can take you over the ghetto walls to the world, to stolen freedom and life." So these reports at the National Library of Israel in our archives are a small piece of commemoration of the Shoah. Here is a more personal memory. This is a postcard sent to my father. You can see a picture of him there. He was a young boy of 7. And I put in a postcard because we want to use postcards as the leitmotif for our exhibition this year. This was sent to him by his mother and brothers. He was in a children's hospital in Suffolk in England. They were in Frankfurt in Germany, and it was written on 9th of August 1939. He had left on the 6th of July that year for England on the Kindertransport. They were only able to write to him for a few weeks until war broke out in September. After that date, he didn't hear or see them again. These precious postcards are what we have left from his memories of them. I'm sure you all have poignant materials like these that reflect your and evoke your personal memories and those of your family and tell your story. Because the personal dimension of memory is so important for this year's theme, we think. It brings authenticity and an emotional connection. And we really hope that we can, together with you, reflect this in our materials for this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caron. It will be a pleasure. And as she announced, we are going to have a workshop this afternoon with Olga and Caron exploring the theme of this year of memory. Okay, time for a coffee. We are going to gather in 15 minutes. I'm going to give the floor to Federico Scharfer for the latest instructions. We are running late. I think that this is making a conference real now.
Thank you, Victor. Just a quick announcement. We have some minutes to have coffee at Entresol. Simone Weil, sorry. After that, we are starting 3 tours around the Memorial de la Shoah. One of them will be in French, the other 2 groups will be in English. So please be around and here where the instructions to start the tours will be done.
So meeting point
for the tours, it's in the Simone Weil Entresol as well. I don't know if we can leave things in this room. Maybe someone from the memorial can let us know that.